Um, Good evening, members of the press. The press statement dated Thursday, May 15, 2025 reads: Gambians demand immediate action, not empty promises on Jammeh asset scandal. We acknowledge President Barrow's national address on Wednesday, which came in the wake of the Republic's investigative report and the nationwide protest that follows. The President responded to the pressure and chose to speak to the country on this grave matter. However, Gambians Against Looted Assets have reviewed President Barrow's national address on the disposal of assets seized from former President Yahya Jammeh. Whilst we acknowledge his public engagement and the convening of an emergency cabinet meeting, the President's demand fall far short of the decisive and transparent action demanded by the Gambian people. It is deeply alarming that President Barrow admitted to learn for the first time about some of these asset sales, some of which reportedly occurred during the Jammeh Commission's proceedings. These admissions raise serious concerns about leadership, oversight, and the competence and compliance of the very task force he established to manage these national assets. These transactions were carried out in the name of the people. The fact that they may have been sold off in secret at questionable prices and without the President's full knowledge points to potential cover-up and a failure of governance. This undermines not only public trust, but the very foundation of the new Gambia. Gala notes the President's reference to the National Assembly and the National Audit Office, but these bodies have their limitations and timelines. Given the urgency and the gravity of these revelations, many of which were outlined in our public petition and further corroborated by the investigative report, the assets of the Gambia's former dictator go for a song. We demand immediate and bold executive actions. Gala's demands are clear and uncompromising. First, full transparency. Complete detailed report or record of all recovered assets, sale proceedings, buyers' identities, and the amount paid. The public is entitled to know how their resources are being handled. Independent investigations. Establish a separate, impartial investigative body with full legal authority and a strict timeline to plunge into the sales and management of these assets. This body must be free from political interference and empowered to compel testimonies and access all relevant documentation. Accountability for all involved. Anyone, regardless of rank and political affiliation, found to have engaged in corruption, negligence, and mismanagement must face legal consequences. Gambians will not accept scapegoats whilst those truly responsible remain untouched. Concrete presidential action plan. The President's speech lacked clarity, time-bound roadmap for justice and reform. We urge him to urgently present such a plan to the nation, outlining how his government will rectify this scandal and prevent future abuse of public trust. This is a defining moment for President Barrow and for our democracy. The people of the Gambia will not profit by speeches. We demand swift, transparent, and uncompromising action. Looting of our national assets in the name of justice is a betrayal that cannot be ignored. On the National Assembly extraordinary sitting, Gala will have preferred an independent NAM who is not part of the ruling party to head the committee. We cannot be both a player at the same time a referee in the same game. Such an arrangement lacks an impartiality and credibility required to get to the heart of the scandal. The Gambian people deserve more than a political charity dressed up as an oversight. We know the selection committee have been made already. Though we are unhappy with this leadership, we will let them do their job whilst we watch them closely. Finally, we reject and condemn the legal arrest of our members by the Gambia Police Force in the last weekend and protest. Peaceful protest is a constitutional right, not a crime. Targeting citizens who are standing up for transparency and justice is a blatant abuse of power. We call on the police to remember that their duty is as custodians of the law, not tools of intimidation, and not to act in service of people, not political interests. Such actions only strengthen our resolve and expose the very root we are fighting to uproot. Equally, we have learned about state ministers issuing threats to citizens for participating in a peaceful and lawful protest. We call on the ministers to withdraw and apologize as we will not be intimidated by anyone. Finally, to every Gambian, home and abroad, we express our deepest gratitude. Thank you for standing by the truth, standing by Gala, and then for helping ensure our collective voices are not gone unheard. Some of our demands have already begun to gain traction, and this momentum must not stop. We urge all citizens to remain vigilant, vocal, and unflinching, fighting for accountability. The youth are the future of this country. It's not enough to hope for change. We must be the change. We cannot remain passive whilst a few explore our national wealth for their own benefit. Gala stand firm and call on all Gambians to do the same. Together we will ensure that justice is not just spoken, but served. Gala will continue to mobilize, expose, and hold accountable all those who seek to profit from our injustice. We all call on all Gambians to remain engaged, informed, and united in the pursuit of accountability and protection of our national wealth. Signed, Omar Saibo Kamara, spokesperson, Gambia against looting assets.
Thank you very much, spokesperson Omar Saibo Kamara. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the statement. We will share it shortly in the PDF. We have a soft copy. We will share it to you all. At this juncture, we will allow questions and answers if you have any towards the movement, towards the statement. The floor is open. Just introduce yourself. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much. My question will go to myself, who is spokesperson of Gambian Aspect. Gala. So my first question is, we know the National Assembly are currently on seeking to establish a committee that will, look or investigate the forfeited assets from the former president. Don't you think it would have been very important if the National Assembly engaged members of Gala to be part of the committee in establishing that very committee that would be looking into the people or investigating as to how some of these assets were served?
That's a difficult question. I think it's important to be an oversight from the outside than being on the table. However, we still could affirm that there could be a representation either from the media or from the civil society. We would have recommended from the civil society to have represented. In fact, that is one of the things we outlined in our petition when we talk about the composition of an investigative panel, to have a civil society. But for Gala, let us stay outside and work closely, watch far, and ensure that the needful is done.
Okay, so my second question is, you talked about a state minister uttering threats to Rahimani Blue and Esafal were the individuals that you mentioned during one of their rallies. But we also had a National Assembly member inside Parliament uttering unparliamentary statements directed to young people, calling them cockroaches and mice. What is the stand of Gala with regards to that statement?
I'll allow the national committee to answer that. I will put him on spot, but I'll allow my boss to answer that.
Oh, come on. Okay, yes, I think I should be fine here.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, thank you for the question. And the first one, that is a state minister issuing threats to citizens. You are the one that mentioned names. We are not going to mention names because how we first see individuals in this country is by their nationality as Gambians and not in their capacity as mayors or ministers. Whether the threat is to Rohim Malik Low or to Esa Fall, we see the threat as a threat towards a Gambian that participated in a lawful protest to ask for transparency and accountability. The state minister authored these threats before Gambians who did not condemn him. But today, we take this set to ask the state minister to withdraw and apologize, as we are never going to be intimidated by empty threats from state minister towards citizens of this country. So the second part, that is the honorable member for Sabak Sanjal that authored unpleasant and derogatory statements towards the members of Gala and the Gambian people at large, because it was an affront to the youth of this country that stood shoulder to shoulder to see to it that transparency and accountability, was done. He apologized yesterday before we even left the parliament. But it is not in our power as Gala to accept apologies from people. The guy should go on TV to apologize to the Gambian people for insulting them. I think that is what I have.
Yeah, thank you. Omar, you've mentioned about Ibrahima, who was brutalized at the station. Do you consider any legal steps against the police or the IGP?
Yes, so I think I responded to this question some time ago in TV that for now we are concerned about Ibrahim's health, that we are monitoring, and then he's seeking for medical attention, and we are supporting him to do that. So after that, Gala will sit down, and now moving forward, we'll be able to determine what kind of actions we're going to take. But for now, what is more important to us is Ibrahim to recover fully and join us as the movement continues to seek for accountability and transparency. Thank you.
So I have a further question.
Before you come, is there any objection?
In local languages, please, as well.
Liberation, you made mention that you people would allow the National Assembly to do their work, even though you are aware of the setup of the committee. But if at all this setup is finalized and you come to confirm that there are people who are conflicted with regards to the current issues at hand, what would be Gala's stand towards that?
So mbafala mandika kanwala ay minjinin ka wala nyinti National Assembly special committee le deda ye mon le kapunyo may ko ye jibe roke ye kisikisi roke investigative report o mimbota republic bulu pour ka tonya yandi fo tonya lo bam fo tonya te dumal le bulo nota je dumal le sandi roke dumal le wafi roke National Assembly kunundeng ye mosono nyim pass e kuma kawo nyim pass bi itata ye kafo nyim ya londi komi sondale mi ye mosono nyim move ay kafo min propose wala selection committee National Assembly mi ya lonko speaker from Faba honorable Faba ga tombo njata wala nga nyaton koti ye min anala kafo mo ye mol min tombong pour ye jibero ke ni ko kam National Assembly ya asateni sonta la commune wo molni wala nyanta ka continuer pour ka kiskisi roni to nyalam wo molni mimbe nyaaton kaya kan NPP ko mol fanam be committee kilon kono mi yalon ko don mu UDP ko leti do be je mi yalon ko mu NRP ko leti do be je mi yalon ko mu independent candidate yala si parliament ko conflict de wo be tarraje conflict wala njenti ila politiko ite be damen anin do ko nyi abe do ko nyi kisi do nyi abe tilinka mol minna ite mo wolle kono conflict nyi bina wala bari National Assembly itolbe be Gambia no represent iko isontale kafoni yemil londi pour ya continuer ndol min be banda nko ni ata kafoni mallo wo nyamanu ndol bella fila wol bar sen kafoni lota wala nyam ndol te kuno la wol bari ni se kuno damen wala nyeti mba en solale ngatali nyulu jube kan ibe la do ko kala nyamen fo be do ko nyinke kan kula ban fo mandara ka ke ku mbe taymo dire la mba jibe la ila do ko nyimbita kan nyamen nindol fe komin amanta ta kan ku be findila la kotenke ka tandi mol la komi bita kan nyame man tari ka kan ku sen del lafta kam min tandi mol la wala nyenti tolu mam fanke government baliti mam fanke police olti but in tol we are a legitimate oversight body mi ya lonko banku dingol lenti ninga fengo fenje mi anu ka man tata kan ni banko kan kuke mba folale andum be bulala noman nam soli ya mil tambindi nyaato ba min fole wala nyenti Gambia no le tol keji i bota patil le to bari Gambia no li be wolle je ye tambindi nyaato le ko e do ko mbe bulala le kaatu man sembo soto ka fo ete do ko nyin kala kaatu ton mo le mi ango ngal loi buñale ngal loi noma mbe bulala ye la do ko ke bari ya lom fananko nde bulala wonyama doron ka ko mi bitale min diade yake betade jibe kanne andu ninga je ko mi bitaka nyame man ta takanku ba fala gambe no le man ta takanku andu be wullale nga tandi mon la koy man ta takanku laba.
Any more questions? If there is none, then we just allow Saibo to wrap up and tell them where we're heading to. As Gala is formed to move into the course, go into the looted assets of former President Jammeh. I don't even want to use former president because these assets now belong to Gambians. But from here, we are heading and we are going to look into other aspects as far as this country is concerned. National assets belongs to every one of us, and thus we individuals will do the same, using it on behalf of the Gambians and rise to the world justice.
Thank you very much. I think you have concluded already, but just to put emphasis that Gala came together, the formation began just to track the asset issue, but we come to realize that we need a nationalist movement, an anti-corruption nationalist movement that will ensure that transparency and accountability become the bedrock of our democracy and then our governance system. Therefore, we have come together and we have established an interim executive, and we are going to establish this movement, and then moving forward, we are going to be the mouthpiece, the eye, and then the leg of Gambian people on every corruption scandal in this country and beyond. And then we just start with the assets, but we are going to follow each of this, and we are also already reviewing the report on the GRA saga, GPA saga rather. And then from this assets issue, we are going to get into that, and we'll make sure that every corruption scandal in this country is investigated, accountability is done, and case will roll, and we cannot continue to leave our affairs in the hand of a group of people that continue to loot and deny us our national wealth. Thank you.
We want to reiterate one thing. We stand in solidarity with the Salaji demolition victims. We have learned that they have written a permit to the police for them to protest, to show their dissatisfaction about the demolitions that happened to their properties. We stand in solidarity with them, and we want to advise the IGP to issue them the permit so they can vent out their frustrations about the things that they feel are not lawful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of this press conference, and then until we come your way again, see you some other time.
I have this.
We didn't hear about the gold coins also, you know. The gold coins.
No, wait.